Cisco Kid. This is not the right keyboard. I do that every time. Okay, hold on a second, hold on a second, hold on a second. Okay. It's a Hollywood Kid album. Alright, seems like all that's working perfect. Let's see what we got. With the boss DJ, right? Be right back. Oh, you. Okay, okay, okay. I gotcha. I gotcha. I'm feeding it. Yeah, I know, but. Can't the Cisco Kid talk for himself? Is that a reputation? Cisco, like having a partner for you? I know when I should talk from. The kid part of it fits you from the way you act. Big talk for an hombre who won't fight. Looks like I'll fight you any place, anytime, if there's a good reason. Yeah, I know. I got you. I got you. I got you. Hernandez finished bracket. I won't forget this, Cisco. I'll take this up with you another time. That's what I mean. We try to square dance. Bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Right, what was I doing? So I don't need this anymore. Good to go. You ready? You good to go? Come on. Get some food, buddy. Anyway, just about ready. So, last night, I did a lot of just utility work. There was a lot of files on my cell phone, which is the main thing. I mean, this little thing right before bed, I'm lot of the time, or just throughout the day, or whatever it is. So, that being the case, I had a bunch of separate files for a lot of changes that I was having to just the overall narrative. Um, at that point yesterday, I was about 165 pages. Um, I have the hiccups now. The additions added about 10 more pages. However, that's a little bit deceptive because they weren't fully fleshed out written areas. They were just essentially just what I wanted for to have changed in the story and just slap them in there. Very, very inelegant. But that means that at the very least it's in there. And it's in the approximate area where I want those changes to take place. So right now, I realize that going over it, there's a lot of time of day, weather, a lot of those like things that need to be changed and adjusted for the story as it's been written now. But that's going to happen a lot, a lot, a lot. So I'm pushing all that stuff way in the end. So right now, if things don't make sense in the story, in terms of like what time of day it is, that's okay. Because for me, I've broken it more down in terms of the section that it needs to take place in, and that section takes place at a certain time of day. So that's okay, as long as it's all grouped in the proper areas. I'm not really worried about the other stuff. Um, I'm not worried about it just not being very cohesive on the read, which is a bit of a shame because up till now it has been. It's been you could read all 160 whatever the crap pages, and you'll get the gist of it. You'll understand that there's things missing, of course, because it'll jump from one thing to another. But all in all, it was fairly enjoyable, I guess, legible, whatever you want to say, because it was cohesive enough. Um, at the point that I was at, I had a bunch of posts set up, just things spread all throughout that I wanted to work on, but I worked on all of it. It was all done. So all this new stuff is kind of game changing for me in terms of it's going in a different direction because up till now I've been writing a lot of um, dialogue, uh, big sequences, just the big things that happen. But if you read it in that way, that as it stood, it would be like introduction to a character, big thing happens, big thing happens, big thing happens, big thing happens, story, conversation. You know what I mean? Like it seems very just all rushed and thrown in your face, and that was always meant to expand. It was always meant to kind of say, okay, these are the beats that I want for these big spots. But if they need to move around in a narrative, because I expand it by talking about now the animals, the wilderness, the lifestyles, just the minutia, the things that don't make the story happen, but they just drive it in terms of imagination. They allow you to kind of say, well, okay, it's not taking place in a city, it's not taking place in a forest, it's taking place in something that's more along the lines of such and such. You know what I mean? A lot of those details I've just glossed over. If for me writing those big instances that I wanted, you would have situations where a lot of the characters would just be in an alley somewhere. I just make a note in an alley, move on. And, so it hasn't exactly been in terms of world building all that great. But just now, I've written a few things that jam themselves very early in on the story, and I've realized as I was reading it over that I go over the architecture of a certain building, just saying like, there's someone that owns the property, and they did such and such in order to make it just workable, but it's kind of a hazard. It could kill you if you're not too careful as a tenant. So it's dirt cheap, but it just the way it works for my narrative was great. I came up with that, and I was like, oh, okay. Wait a minute. Up until now, 160 plus pages, I have not at all really focused on the way a building looks or something like that. There is one in particular, but that's not unique. That's something where you could read any book anywhere at any point in time and you'll understand what I'm talking about, because that's the point. I don't want to make it some kind of supernatural, beyond belief, where you need a framework for what it looks like. It exists as a certain spot where as soon as I describe it, for now at least, you're like, oh, that's where you are. That's fine. There is going to come a point in time, and sooner than later now apparently, where I will go back in and I'll say, okay, I had an area for the idea that's simple to understand, but now I need to add more flavor to it, to add it to be more digestible for the story itself, to make it more cohesive. Is it something that disrupts the idea of the story that you've built so far? Is it something that fits in very snugly and makes it more comfortable? You're like, oh, okay, this looks this way because it fits the flow of what we're doing so far. Has yet to be seen. Um, but anyway, so that's where we are right now, is realizing that I am interested in now setting my characters in places that are more cohesive. So going back to those areas, revisiting them and saying, this needs to be strengthened, this needs to be changed, this needs to be adjusted, is what's happening right now. Um, I don't want to be false in any way, shape, or form ever. So I'm not going to make it seem as though a lot of the work that I'm doing on my book is right here in front of your face or anything like that. That's not the case. It's just as I go throughout, like I said, the form factor, I got this phone in particular because I was like writing at one point and my phone, as a standard phone, was just uncomfortable laying down. It's just such a weird thing. And I made this big pitch to my wife. I was like, I want a new phone. And she's like, all right, get it. You haven't had a new phone in like 5, 6 years. Just get a new phone. And I'm like, okay, slow down. I need you to understand why I want a new phone. And then you can decide whether that reason is okay or not. And she's like, no, I'm working. I make good money. Just get your new phone. I don't, whatever makes you happy, just get it. And I'm like, you're not understanding. So she's like, okay, fine. Why do you want this phone? And I'm like, okay, good. Step one. So I want this phone because it's a smaller form factor. I feel like I could do a few things with it in order to kind of make it something where I could just lay on my side and type and things like that. Before I go to bed or just throughout the day, it's going to be something I just take out at any point in time and type on it. It's not as powerful as my current phone, oddly enough, but I'm making those sacrifices because of the fact, even though I'm a big tech head, I want my phone for this particular purpose. She's like, okay, get your phone. And I'm like, we're not done. We're not quite done yet. So the phone I want, you need to ask me, well, what phone do you want? I'm like, okay, thank you. So I want this phone. It flips in half. I had an earlier version of it for a little while, and I went through the contract, and it just wasn't great, fell apart. But now I know how to use it better, which is that's a whole hour and a half discussion in and of itself. But now I feel like I'm better prepared to use this phone because I don't need to open it constantly to do whatever I need to do. The screen is massive instead of a small little thing, so I feel like I should be able to use it as like a word processor whenever I need it because it's massive. I should be able to double thumb type and stuff. And she's like, oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, yeah, like you had that other phone, you didn't really like it too much, but now it's a similar phone, but it's better. I'm like, yes. So is it okay if I get this phone? And she's like, yeah. Unless there's any reason why you think that you shouldn't get this phone. And I'm like, oh my God, I love you. I love you so much. There's a couple reasons why I don't know if it's that good. It's just brand new. It hasn't even come out yet. I would have to pre-order. I've never done that before. Yada, yada, yada. Battery life, screen life, all these different things, plus and minuses for talking for hours. Now, blessed be between our relationship, I understand when she doesn't necessarily care all that much. So she's watching things in the background, and I'm like, oh, so you get what I'm saying? She's like, uh-huh. I'm not pressing her. She's here as a physical being in this moment, allowing me to explain the things I need to explain. And so if she's not completely checked in, I'm not going to be a jerk about it. I'm not going to be like, tell me again what I said. Sometimes I'm like, okay, there's something important. Just play it back to me because sometimes you check out because I do yada yada a lot. So this time it's important. Just, are you sure you got it? And she'll be like, okay, you said this, this, and this. I'm like, yeah, every time you're way smarter than I am. Absolutely. But in this instance, perfect. But a lot of, like in this instance again, like if I'm like, what were the specs on that phone? She'll be like, you got me. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. She's nodding her head and she's giving me what I need. And so in the end, I'm like, so what do you think? And at that point, she's like, well, it seems like you've done a lot of research and you had an older version of it, so you know what you're doing. And I like the idea of you typing and writing more things. So you should get it because it sounds like a good investment. And I'm like, yes, that's all I wanted you to. That's the conclusion I wanted you to come to. I didn't want her to be of the framework of like, oh yeah, get your stupid new phone because you want a new phone. I wanted her to be like, you're getting this for work. Now, does that mean that she's going to eventually be like, why aren't you using it for work or such and such. No, she's not up my ass about anything. I love her about that. But sometimes I wish it would be a little bit more, but I am using it in that exact way. Like it did actually check out exactly the way I want. So I could be in the shower and just doing my thing, cleaning up, and just be like, oh, grab my phone. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect, especially before bed. That's the point in time where it's like I've been thinking about things all day long, and then right before I go to sleep, I'll stay up for like 3 or 4 hours just writing all the things like in a good way for me to understand. That goes onto my phone, and that'll happen for about a month. And at the end of the month, then I'll import it into the main narrative while at the same time working on the main story. So sometimes I get to the point where I am right now where I'm like, crap, I've written so much, I don't think my story supports it. Good. So I'll slap it in where I think it needs to go, and then I'll go over everything again, and then I'll start tightening it up again. So yeah, when I say that I'm at 165 to 75, 175 pages, my wife illuminated me again. She's fantastic in a lot of really cool things. Yo, what's up? What's up? I am going on a huge tangent explaining myself because this is like my first good stream, like being recorded. So if anyone sees anything, this is gonna be the one that they're gonna be like, okay, I get you. So I'm trying to cram as much effing information into this as possible. Where was I? Doesn't matter where I was. What's good with you? How are you doing? How are you feeling? Are you okay? How's your family? Did you eat well? If you want to answer those questions. If not, F me. Doesn't matter. Don't answer them if you don't feel comfortable doing so. I'm really bad with tangents. Anyway, okay, so basically, I got my phone. I'm typing a lot. I'm getting back things back into the main narrative. Oh, yes. So I'd say that I'm at like 175 pages, but my wife actually reads. Like, my name is not necessarily like a lie on my stream. I don't read shit if I can't help it. Like, unless it's like subtitles on some kind of like foreign whatever, I read the hell out of that. But books, like sitting down and opening them up, like, I'm 40 years old. It's been a long time since I've really felt comfortable being in that mood because I'm a father now, I'm a husband. I should be cooking and cleaning and taking care of my kid and things like that. So I'll listen to audiobooks. I'll do a lot of stuff like that. But reading, it's been a very, very long time since I've actually sat down and done that. So I feel like a little bit of a Neanderthal. I want to come straight forward and tell people that just like, if it comes to my wife, like my wife loves reading. Like, I got her into reading. I bought her a Kindle and she was like, I don't know if I'm going to really use it. And it just popped off. It just like, she got a subscription. She's reading things left and right. Like it's so much fun. It's fun to the point where it was like, originally it was like, you loved to read and you don't do it anymore. So here's this thing, try it out. And now it's like, I want to tell you about this book. I'm 8 books in and I'm like, my eyes are rolling back in my head and steam is coming out of my ears. And I'm like, tell me more about it. Yes. And she's like, well, I don't know if you remember this character. There's this character that's so about. Like, I remember your character. And one thing between us, she's understood for a very long time that I didn't understand for myself for a very long time until I saw a little bit of the show Sherlock. It was never I never put it in a cohesive form of what happens in my mind when I go to recall something, especially stories. Like, it's not exactly like, photographic memory. It's not really like that in terms of just a wide, broad band of I could tell you anything that I ever read or anything like that. It's not that. It's if I ever need to retell a story that ever happened to me before, I could tell you what I was smelling, what the people were wearing, the way the clouds were moving in the sky, things like that. Because just something about the way I just remember things, it's very colorful to me. It's just very vivid. But it's not the same when it comes to remembering things like phone numbers, faces, math, things in a normal day-to-day life that gets you through. My wife is amazing at all of those things. So once we hooked up and once we got into this unified relationship, I was kind of able to check back my brain on a lot of those things. And then just, she was like, yeah, you should get back to what you're good at. You should start doing this and this and this. And I was like, okay, we're at that point in our lives. Like, yeah, okay, cool. So now she's the avid reader. And so she's in a strange place with me. It's a very, I really want to just scream sometimes about it, but the way she approaches my work is that she likes it. She likes the things I'm reading, or she's reading, what I'm writing, and she likes the characters and the interactions. She has strong feelings about them early on. Like she starts reading like a couple pages and she's like, do not kill these characters. Like I want them to have more friends. I want them to do more things. I want to know more about the way because I like the way you've written them. And I'm like, that's fantastic. Well, this is what I want to do. And she's like, no, don't tell me what you want to do with them because I don't want to know. And I'm like, wait, you're not understanding your place in my life right now. I need you to want to know, and I want to be able to tell you everything. I want to tell you all the spoilers and all the interesting things and the theories and things I want to change. And she's like, no, you can't do that. She's like, because right now I'm reading a lot of things and you don't read. So you don't understand that what you're writing is nothing like what I've read before. So I kind of want to keep you in that place. And I'm like, shit. You make a good point. You make a really good point. And that's something that's been a part of me for my whole life is like when I was doing photography, I was absorbed in it. You would think that I know everything about the whole community of photography and the whole ecosystem, but I don't. I know how to work a camera because I've read a book that told me how to work a camera. I got a job in a photo lab, so I'm around these guys that just tell me things constantly, and I'm learning from them. But outside of me and my work, I don't know artists. I don't know, like one thing I would tell people all the time that drove my coworkers crazy is that I would have a model that's like, I want to do something with caution tape. I want to be in like alt goth girl and like, fake blood and caution tape. And I'm like, cool, that sounds really awesome because you're interested in it. And I don't know how I'm going to do it, but working together with you, we'll figure it out. And my coworkers would be like, oh, you're doing a caution tape thing. That's cool. And I'm like, all right, what do you know about it? Well, I mean, it's been kind of done to death. Have you looked it up before? And I'm like, nah, I don't look things up. Like, what do you mean? Like, how do you prepare? Like, I've seen your other work. They see my other work, and they're like, you get people left and right working for you for free. And I'm like, yeah, I don't pay nobody. Hopefully they don't charge me or nothing. So, maybe I'll make them dinner or cook some food or, we'll just hang out and play some Dreamcast at the time or whatever it was. But yeah, cash doesn't go back and forth. And so they're already like, that doesn't make sense. Like you have people doing X, Y, Z. Like if it was me, I would have to set things up. I have to pay people. It has to be on a contract. And I'm like, well, there's a contract, but like it's pretty chill. It's more like I'm gonna do my thing and not make you look bad. You do your thing and not make me look bad. And in the end, the most important thing for my contracts were at any point in time, you could tell me to take pictures down. You could tell me to just remove them because these weren't models. These were people that just they worked in certain places and they grow out of it. Maybe they're in a phase, maybe they were interested in it, and maybe at a certain point in time in their life they'll be like, well, I don't want people seeing them when I'm uncomfortable or anything like that because I'm in a new place. I'm in a new mental space. I never want to change that for people. I want to be very cohesive with that. So I was always like, that's there. So you come to me 20 years later and know that one, I keep this personal. This isn't for popularity. This is to kind of meet new people and have fun and get better at it. So there was always that. So in terms of doing something that another photographer was like, they would roll their eyes and be like, oh, caution tape, fake blood, goth girl. I'm like, why? What's wrong with that? And it's like, oh, it's been done to death. I've seen it a million times before. And I was like, I've never seen it before because I don't expose myself to that stuff. And then they just want to strangle me and be like, so how do you get better? I'm like, oh, I get better because I make my fucking models happy. If they're happy with the pictures I took, then I'm good. I'm at the level I want to be. If the next shoot they're like, oh, that's better than before, that's the feedback I need. That's how I know I'm going to where I want to be. And they're like, that doesn't make sense. You're making no money. You could be at, but I'm like, it's not about that. And so I don't know. It was that. And now I'm in my photography stage. And so she came out of nowhere and hit me with that same kind of vibe that I was hit with like 20 years ago of someone being like, well, wait a minute. You're good. I see that you're good. You're not the best by any means, shape, or form, but like you have something here that's unique. How do you get better? And just that conversation of being like, well, I wanted you to help me to get better. And then suddenly she's like, well, I can't do that because it's good. And I don't want, you get what I'm saying. It's a whole big, terrible cycle and circle. But yeah, that's what kind of drove me to Twitch. I've done a couple other live stream things. Don't Google me, I swear to God. Don't like face cap me and look me up. You'll find some stuff that you don't want to know about probably. But anyway, I was like, you know what? I did Twitch a long time ago. Again, just for fun. So I'm very comfortable in front of the camera. I talk a lot. But I used to do it playing video games, and the video game was secondary, and people didn't really understand that. They were like, "Well, you suck in the video game," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I told a hell of a story, didn't I?" So I get it. But now I'm in this space where I'm working. I'm doing my book, and it's going very very well. So if anyone comes in and says, "Oh, well, are you really writing a book?" I got a lot of stuff to be like, "Yeah, let's go back and forth if you're really that interested." Otherwise, I could get to work. Every time I come on stream, I'm gonna have something new to talk about to say that this is the bit of the progress that I've been making. So I'm excited about it. If no one pops in, it's the same as it used to be back in the day. But at the same time, I do know that when I was doing Twitch, I was playing a bunch of video games. When I would watch it over again, it was helpful. Like, I would see what I was talking about, and even if I wasn't watching the entire streams, I would listen to what I was saying in certain sections and be like, oh, I get what you were saying then. Let me make these adjustments. Let me watch some different videos. Let me get different feedback and try and get better. Even if it's not in the game, proof is in the pudding because I got an old kind of potato computer. My internet's not the best. And, I'm sitting back and I'm laid up playing the video game. So how much better am I getting? So maybe to other people it wasn't all that productive. But for me, it was like, well, I get where I'm doing right and wrong. So, but here, that's about it. That's about as much as I can say in less than half an hour about what's going on to keep you up to date to kind of tell you what's good. I hope that answered your question. But anyway, I'm gonna go start making some tea. I haven't even opened up the document. Everything up till now has been kind of explaining the missing stream. If you look at yesterday's stream, it was only 15 minutes or so because I had a much longer one, but I didn't realize I didn't turn on stream saving. So we kind of went into the ether, and I was like, I should probably change that if I'm going to be using this to get better and stronger at what I'm doing. So that's where we are. That's where we are right now. I'm gonna go make some tea. I don't have a BRB screen, so yeah. There you go. Kiss me once, then kiss me twice, then kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time. Haven't felt like this, my dear, since I can remember when. It's been a long, long. You never know how many dreams that you never do, or just how empty they all seem without you. Alright, the tea is on. Kiss me twice, then kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time. Long, long time. We'll grow up and learn to lie, just like your daddy did when he told you no one ever really dies. Hope that I'm not there when you realize those with the nose in the air will never look you in the eye. And right now I need something so I don't lose my voice. I found some honey, I'll drink it off screen so people don't clip it and do something weird with the video. 'Cause the internet's weird, how will I ever know? Man, if you know the song I'm singing right now, you'll be very impressed with what I just did there. But I never had a reason to complain, till the day that I stop coming by and I miss this company, and you will go town to town, like David and Goliath. We will be the lion. answers. He don't have the answers. How will I ever know? How far back can I push this without it falling? Wait a minute, wait. Hold on. If I move it this way, you got more room, dummy. Pretty smart sometimes. Music? My music just died? Music? Come on, what happened? I was in such a good place. I was making tea. I was about to start getting back in my book and start writing things. Oh, come on. All of a sudden, the music dies. The day the music died. I had, I'm not going to tell that story. Never mind. I'm at a point in my life where my brain kicks in, actually, and it's just like, wait a minute. Shut up. I'm like, alright. You got me. Return the sender. Return the sender. I gave a letter to the postman. He put it in his sack. Bright and early next morning, he brought my letter back. You roll upon it, return the sender. Address unknown. No such number. No such zone. We had a quarrel. A lover's spat. I write, I'm sorry, but my letter keeps coming back. Read a little bit of my story. Okay, I'll read a little bit of my story after I drink some tea and I feel a little bit better. Promise. I promise. It came right back to me. Return the sender. Address unknown. No such number. Ooh, I'm gonna make some garlic bread from the freezer. Don't come at me, I'm hungry. Why doesn't he just make regular garlic bread? You know, just like homemade garlic. Look, I got the bread maker out. I just don't have the ingredients here. I swear to you, once I start making homemade bread, I will be showing the shit out of it on stream. No such number. No such zone. Why am I struggling with this bag? Cole's garlic bread. Why is it so difficult to open? I gotta bring out a utensil that I can't show on stream. Like, it was ban me. Alright, we're good. What is with the old music today? I like it. First you say you do, and then you don't. And when you say you will, and then you won't. You're undecided now, so what are you gonna do? What the hell do I do with this? Yo, somebody explain this to me. I got like a flap here, but then this side is like really wide. You see what I'm saying? So like this side goes down. Like I can't put the thing underneath because it doesn't fit. Like, if there's someone out there who's smarter than me, let me know. But yeah, this flap, but this side is like this way. So what do? Send help. I'm just gonna put you in a Ziploc. Oh, sitting on a fence, and it doesn't make much sense, 'cause you keep me in suspense, and you know it, and you promised you return, when I took my real well, like the sun that we learned, and I showed it, if you got it hard, and if you can, then don't keep us apart, you got your mind. You're undecided now, so what are you gonna do? Now if you don't love me, I wish you'd say so. My love is so much, honey, I just got to know. I'm just a fool for you. What are you gonna do? Oh, that's too much tea. That's too much hot water. He was like, why is my playlist a million years old today? How lucky can one guy be? I kissed her and she kissed me. Like a fella once said, ain't that a kick in the head? The room was completely black. I hugged her and she hugged back. Like a sailor said, quote, ain't that a hole in a boat? My head keeps spinning. I go to sleep and keep grinning. If this is just the beginning, my life is gonna be beautiful. I've sunshine enough to spread. It's just like the fella said. Tell me quick, ain't that a kick in the head? That's with a sore throat too. I'm doing alright tonight. Like a fella once said, ain't that a kick in the head? That needs to cool the hell down. Let's put it away. Like a sailor said, quote, ain't that a hole in a boat? My head keeps spinning. I go to sleep and keep grinning. If this is just the beginning, my life is gonna be beautiful. Like a sailor will be wet. Just kicked out a king size bed. I couldn't feel any better. What you said. Tell me quick. Why that I kick? Tell me quick. Ain't that a kick in the head? Sitting in the corner all alone, staring from the bottom of his soul, watching the night come in from the window. You're alone and that's tonight. Full moon is here again, in sickness and in health. Understanding, so demanding, it has no need. There's one for every season, makes him insane to know. Running away from it all, I'll be safe in a confusing fence. So what I spent all that time making, I made a garlic bread grilled cheese sandwich. That's it. Now I'm gonna eat it. It's a masterpiece. Anyway, that's the update and that's my stream. Take it easy. Hard control of him.